All right, it's the second episode of Across the Sports World. I'm Domenic Clary. We'll be doing the AFC NFC North this time. Last episode, make sure to watch that. Watch it on YouTube or anywhere else you get your podcast, minus um, Apple Podcasts. They have a lot of. It's just hard to get podcasts on there right now. We'll find a way to get on there shortly. But anywhere you get your podcast, you can go back and watch the AFC and NFC West preview that I did before. But now is the AFC and NFC North. Um, Again, just like the last episode, it's curious because there's two stories for these divisions. You have the NFC North that can be one of the best, usually is entertainment wise, record wise. Usually the teams are scattered due to just beating each other up. And then the NFC North, you don't know who can come out on top. It can be really random. We could see the Bears be a surprise team. We could see the Packers sneaking in at the end, or I mean, we could see Love being better than we think he is, or it could be the Lions or the Vikings, which I think most people have one of those two teams winning the division. But yeah, we'll start off with the AFC North. I'm really excited to watch this division. Living in Northeast Ohio, growing up a Steeler fan, this is the division to watch. This is the division where it is Black Air Force One energy. You do not know what you're going to get day in and day out from this division, and it can get scary from time to time. There's been a lot of injuries in the past, a lot of head-to-head hits, a lot of stomping, a lot of helmet hitting, a lot of fans throwing things on the field. This is probably my favorite division overall in football throughout since the four divisions became a thing. I think the Bengals will be the number one team in this division. There's no reason to think they won't be. They have the best wide receiving core in the entire division, possibly one of the best in the entire league. I mean, anytime you have Chase out there running routes, you're up there. But they have two guys just as good right behind, not just as good, but right behind him, who would be number ones on other teams. The Bengals, I'm interested to see how healthy Burrow is against the Browns on week one. The Browns are not an easy opponent. I know we keep seeing things about how, they're just another team. The Browns are another team. They're a competitor. You'll see in a minute where I have them ranked. But you can't sleep on the Browns, and I'm afraid that's what the Bengals are doing. The Bengals right now, all they know is that they are a championship contender. That being said, the North, the AFC North, does not care. We've seen times where the Steelers are the best team in that division, they finish second, but they make up for it in the playoffs. I mean, the Bengals found that firsthand back in 2005. The Ravens found out, I believe, 2008. I think the Steelers were a wild card team. I might be wrong, but you have these moments where the best team in the division finishes second and they prove it in the playoffs, or they finish first and they don't prove it in the playoffs. The Bengals did that plenty of times. So again, I think the Bengals win this division, but don't be surprised if they're challenged throughout the season. A team that I think will be the surprise of the AFC will be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they finished second. And here's the reason, because I'm high on the Browns. If I'm high on the Browns, I have to be high on the Steelers because I will never have the Browns finishing above the Steelers. I don't think that the Browns – I'm not going to pick the Browns to win ahead of the Steelers. They haven't done it since Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. So I'm not – the USSR was still a country. I'm not going to pick the Cleveland Browns to finish ahead of the Steelers. I have Steelers. I like Pickett a lot. I like that offense a lot. I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better. I think when you have Warren and Najee Harris, they're running back. It's a 1-2 punch that we haven't seen since Willie Parker and Jerome Bettis and Deuce Staley. Mendenhall back in the day. Le'Veon Bell and Williams when Le'Veon was healthy. I know Williams stepped up a lot when Bell wasn't healthy. This is a Steelers team, also has a great wide receiver core, great defense. This is the team I can see making some noise. I don't think they'll win the division. I think the Bengals will pretty much run away with that. Again, they'll probably win it by 2-3 games. But this is a Steeler team where I think that they can win a wild card spot. Another team I have winning the wild card spot. Yes, I have three teams going to the playoffs in this division. Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns are good this year. I think Watson's going to take the step up, and around him is one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. You can argue with me on that. It's just a fact. And we look at that empty orange helmet and the nameless gray faces, as Tomlin likes to say. It's not a team you're confident in. I get that. Trust me, I understand that. But there's talent on this roster. I think Stefanski's going to be a lot better. They bring in a defensive coordinator who is phenomenal, and he's coached before, he's won before, and he's lost before. And I feel like he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. I think this team will be good as long as they're healthy on defense. If Myles Garrett can be consistently the best defensive player on the field every single game, which he was not, right? There's maybe 5 games where someone on the other side of the field outperforms him defensive wise. He can't have that. Has to be the best player on the field. The exception is TJ Watt. But if you're a Browns fan, you need to expect that TJ Watt is not better than Myles Garrett. That Myles Garrett is the best pass rusher in the league. He needs to be near 20 sacks this season, or it's another season where he's going to fall behind TJ Watt. You can't have that, because you can't have the best pass rusher in your history be worse than the second best guy in Steeler history. Can't have it happen. Now, on the offense, I think Nick Chubb will be great. If not, you have a bunch of good running backs behind him. No stars, but enough to keep the cog in the machine going. Your wide receivers are good as well. Amari Cooper's your best guy. Donovan Peoples-Jones can step up and be good. Elijah Moore, I expect him to be good. After that, you have Tillman. You have the second-year guy from Purdue I'm thinking the name of. Cool on Key on Sports loves him as well. I'm not very high on him. This is a wide receiver core that's improved. Last year, they really only had Amari Cooper. I think this year they have more than one option. I think they have 3 really good ones, and they have a rookie and a second-year guy that they might be able to rely on. I think there's a lot of excitement in that wide receiver room. The offensive line's good as always. Jedrick Willis, I think, is the question mark there. They need to figure out, this is the year. Is he your guy? He may not be. He's proved that he's not. But this is the last test to see an improvement here from him. But otherwise, the offensive line's good. The defense is great. Again, Ward, you're concerned with the concussions there for the Browns and for him. Hopefully he can figure it out. Hopefully he can be on the field. And the Browns, I think, will be a 10-win team. I think at worst they're a 9-win team. They need to win 10 games if they want to make a wild card, because there's going to be a lot of 10-win teams at the end of the year that are going to be competing for that wild card spot at a point where we might have some tiebreakers. I think it's going to be that good in the AFC. Baltimore Ravens, I have about like 6-7 wins. I don't think they're very good. I think they're kind of grasping at straws with Odell Beckham. I think Zay Flowers is going to be great. I think they're confused with Lamar. Listen, I think what makes Lamar great is that you're scared if he runs, and if he throws, he can throw the ball, but you're even more scared if he just decides to take it and go. Cordell Stewart was a good quarterback, but as soon as he decided he was a pocket passer, not a scrambler, his career was not the same. I don't want that to be the case with Lamar. Lamar is extremely talented. He's really fun to watch. Sadly, I think this year they're going to turn him into a pocket passer, and I don't know if it's going to be as good as if he's restricted as much. Now, again, if he has freedom to roam around the pocket and run out, that's fine. They don't need design runs to utilize the fact he can scramble. They have running backs they can use. And Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards, they have people that they can use. The real question is, are they going to include him in the run game? If not, that makes me nervous. But I won't be as nervous if they allow him to kind of do his thing and run around, to be Lamar Jackson. That's what I'm curious about. So I have Cincinnati finishing first, the Steelers second, Browns third, Ravens fourth. The NFC North, I have a curveball. The Detroit Lions are going to win this division. The Detroit Lions, I really like. I like Goff. Right, they have Montgomery, who I think is a good running back option. They have that rookie as well that everyone loves in fantasy football this year. I think wide receiver-wise, Amon-Ra St. Brown is great. Tight end, I really don't know with Hawkinson gone. I'm kind of sad they got rid of him, but they didn't think they were going to compete in the middle of that year, and they ended up making kind of a run. So I think it'll be a lot better. I don't think they're going to need a run. I think they're going to win this division. I don't think the Vikings are going to – I think the Vikings are going to take a step down. This team's going to step up. The Bears, who knows what's going on there? And then with the Packers, it's a bad team. It's a really bad team there in Green Bay. So I'm excited to see what the Lions do. I think Aiden Hutchinson is a lot better this year, although he was good last year. I think that he can now, we will be able to see the progression of him being a number one pass rusher on a team. I think this offensive line is good, and I think the secondary is going to take a step up as well. I'm excited to see what this team does. It's a good team. I also like Campbell as the coach. I think he's great. I'm curious. I'm curious about what this Lions team, how good they're going to be with a weak NFC. I think they should take advantage of it, and I'm excited to see if that's the case. Next is the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, everyone thinks, is not very good. They think they're going to take a step back. Not too many people like Kirk Cousins. I personally like Kirk Cousins. I think he's just good enough. Similar to what I said about Jimmy Garoppolo, though I think Kirk Cousins is a little bit better than Jimmy G. Again, he has two great options in Addison and in Jefferson. Jefferson's your number one, obviously, but I think Addison can be a guy where you can discover, hey, we might have a 1A and then a true 1B in Addison. Now, I'm not saying Addison's going to be as good as Jefferson, but I do think that Addison's going to be kind of that tag team partner that they're going to need to be a great throwing attack now that Thielen's out the door. Now with Cook gone, Madison's now stepping up as the number one option there in Minnesota. And we'll see what the defense is. The defense has kind of took step backs every year. We'll see if that's the case this year and if they can be the purple people eaters. I don't think that'll be the case. This offense is going to have to carry them. Having them finish second, they're going to compete for a wild card spot. It's going to be really hard, though, for this team to do so. But the NFC is not very tough. So we could very well see them with a spot at the end of the year. The Chicago Bears with Justin Fields. It's a really weird team. They currently have the Chase Claypool effect on them, where they can't win a game, which is heartbreaking. It was after losing never heard of it tweet. He's kind of fallen apart, and that sucks because I really like Chase Claypool. He seems like a good guy. He seems like a good player as well. But he's just struggling to find it, man, and he's struggling to find wins no matter where he is. I think the Bears are going to win about 7 games this year. I think there's going to be a moment where we think they're going to get on a playoff push, but they're just not that team yet. I think Justin Fields, he will not be a MVP candidate, but I think he'll show flashes. I think he'll be really good, and the fact he can use his feet makes him dynamic, and hopefully they can keep him safe. He can slide. Hopefully that he stays away from contact and he avoids that. Rather than getting the extra yard, he decides to keep his body safe, because at the end of the day, these running quarterbacks don't last very long in the league. And that's exactly why. It's because they get hit a lot. Again, Cordell Stewart, not a super long career. He was good, but it wasn't super long because he did get hurt. So we're not just hurt, but all those add up. RG3 is another great example as well. So it worries me with this Bears team of what can happen. Curious just how the defense is going to look. Defense hasn't been very good in a while. The 85 Bears have been waiting for another great defense, and it just hasn't been the case. Next, we'll talk about Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. I don't have much to say about this team. Seems not very good. They're going to need the run game to carry them. They have 2 great running backs. Yeah, that's pretty much it from the Packers. They're not very good. That's just the case there in Green Bay. I do think there's going to be some games where Jordan Love will look good, but at the end of the day, they're going to have to find a new quarterback. Hopefully, they're just bad enough where they can get their next quarterback. And I think everyone knows who I'm alluding to. Sadly, he announced today that he doesn't want to play for every team. If he's depending who gets the first pick, he may not be in the draft. So we'll see what happens there. Green Bay will be looking at that. I think they want to compete. I really don't see it happening, though. So that being said, I'm going to try to release the other ones tonight. We'll have more content on Talking Action tonight as well for Money on the Mac. But from across the sports world, make sure to look for more content. We'll have weekly content for you every week regarding any sport. I'm personally excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully to talk some soccer here soon. That will be on a hiatus though for a while because college football is in season. We'll talk about all the conferences there, and we'll talk about some of the realignment of conferences. Uh, I have I will be having baseball coverage coming. Now that we're getting close to October, I start to get back into baseball. As you can see with the Dodgers hat, not a Dodgers fan, but I do love the game. We'll talk about baseball. Once basketball season starts, we'll get into that. Formula One, we might touch on. It's been a really boring season. There's not much really to talk about other than Verstappen taking it away. No one's competing with him. I don't think he's had one person finish within 10 seconds of him, other than Perez. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how much I'll talk about that though. Um, that's pretty much it I have to talk about here. So yeah, make sure to follow for more content. Enjoy the games here tonight. The Lions take on the Chiefs. We'll be watching that, and yeah, make sure to look out for Money on the Mac. That'll be released tonight as well.